Lin, 467. All our lives, people have told us who to look up to, who to love, who to forgive. And here's a hint, it was never ourselves. The other was always the one. We could only be fans on the sidelines at best. And then you, lifted up off that familiar bench under the saturation of prime time light, an unfamiliar name on an alien back on a familiar jersey. Our people often sweat over those stitches, but seldom under them. It was your shot, and you sank it. And still they didn't believe, so you dunked it. And still they didn't believe, so you flew past their outstretched arms and you slow-mo'd it in case people mistook you for some type of science fiction affirmative action. So they could see you lay it up like the ball was a globe spinning at the reminder of your orbit. Still they didn't believe. But who can blame them? We're talking about a league where grown men get swapped around like trading cards. No one needs to talk about Asian Americans as long as they know their place on the bench. Now that you're shining, everybody wants to debate whether you deserve to be there. They call you the Great Yellow Hope, as if we could be swapped out for white. Is he getting all this attention because he's Asian, they ask? Instead of asking why no one cared that crowds called you chink before you started making money for the Knicks. If they can't understand why you were invisible in the first place, you can't expect them to understand the fullness of your brightness now. So you break records, and still everyone waits for you to mess up. So you sank that tray over Dirk. Well, he's an old man, they said. Tired teams, they said. Any excuse to take it all away. They taunt, overrated, which sounds a lot like go back to where you came from. It matters that they think you couldn't, and it matters that you did. You became great before they were ready to sell your jersey. How can they guard against that? Jeremy Lin, your dad made you watch tapes of ballers. My dad taught me to avoid gangbangers when I walked to my neighborhood library. When we first came to this country, my mother refused to give up Buddha even when they promised our family a sunny life in California if she'd instead embrace your Christ. So your story is not my story. It doesn't have to be. When your legs are tired and you can't find that lift, when you turn it over and take an elbow to your nose, when someone shouts something in a familiar language to make you an alien, just remember. When everyone says that you were given a once-in-a-lifetime shot in a perfect storm, what everyone forgets is you still could have failed. You didn't. And when no one else believed and when no one else could conceive, you were the only one that was right. So swish it, dunk it, pass it, cut through, see it the way only your eyes can. Find the other side of your muscles and play on. For every Asian American kid who got elbowed on the court when they thought no one was looking and even fewer cared, play on. For every kid taught that the safest place for them was in their own silence, play on. For every one of us who was told we could never rise from our gerrymandered, gentrified place, play on. For my daughter, who a few days ago could barely walk, has discovered the strength of her legs. Now she hurtles forward, tumbling in the wobbling orbit of her own joy, running towards what she doesn't know. Play on for our daughters and sons. Not just so they can be ball players, but so they can be anything that no one thinks they can be.